Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The New Normal with me, Chantelle, and Lee.
Hello,
Hi.
everybody.
So, how's your day?
Good, good.
Good. You know, in the meetings when they start with like little chit chat like that, like, hi, how are you? How's your weekend? How is the family? I feel like I
Well,
just did that.
well, I never had an office job, so I wouldn't know.
Wow, okay. The flex though, or maybe not a flex to some people.
Well, it
Um,
depends on, in some ways, you could take that as I was not qualified for an office job.
or you were overqualified for an office job.
However you take it.
Okay.
It's in the, what's it called? In the beholder?
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah,
Something like
exactly.
that. Anyways.
Neither of us sound educated.
No, it's just we're just warming up right now. Like, I was vibing to music earlier and I was like really reminiscing about how I grew up kind of because of how I would always listen to my brother repeat the same song over and over and over again. Um, and then I rediscovered Cudi. Kid Cudi. Do you know Kid Cudi?
Yeah, I knew him one time from Kanye and West album.
Which one?
The recent, not the most recent one, but uh, the third last or something. He was on there.
Do you remember the song?
No, no,
Not at all.
not not
It
a
wasn't that
not a
memorable.
not a big fan of new Kanye.
Yeah, I let's not even comment. What is it, Dune?
Soon,
What is the name? What is the name? Okay, let's just not because I'm not very well versed in any of the culture stuff, but I
yeah,
can say that I recently I rediscovered Kid Cudi. My brother would listen to him all the time. I think 2010 to 2009 is when his album came out, Back to the Moon or something like that, or To the Moon.
I
Anyways,
wasn't in Canada, so don't ask me.
oh damn. You gotta listen to his stuff then, like his earlier albums. And so, anyways, there's this song on there called Up Up Anyway. If you haven't heard it, maybe we should like listen to it now. Like so you can
No, 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 no,
hold
no.
up your hand.
We're gonna get copyrighted.
Yeah.
But
Damn.
you can sing a couple lines though.
Sing.
Yeah. How does it go?
It goes up, up and away, cause they gonna judge me anyway. So whatever. Anyways, so it goes a little
Let's
something like
go.
and
Looking fly, sounding fly.
and so then we're like kind of vibing, me and my brother just doing this thing, and then I just suddenly like break down crying because like, okay, have you ever listened to music before and just get into the feels and like you be vibing and you be like really getting into the music, you just like want to cry, you just want to cry it out, a good cry or a bad cry, like whatever emotions you're going through, you're like at its peak, so then you're like ball, like let it out.
Well, I had that when I was young, when I listened to Michael Jackson music.
Whoa, see, I didn't vibe with Michael Jackson like that.
But it's with Michael Jackson, it's less because with you, it's more of a reminiscing, like, oh, back then it was like this. But with Michael Jackson's music, it's mostly the music. It's the
Hey, can you explain that? Like, how did you feel like when you're listening to his music and like, because then people go through this and I never really understood. Like, I understood, but like, I never really like felt it to the core the way I did today, kind of. So that's why I'm like, oh, like I really want to talk about this. Like, what is it?
are you talking about
Yeah,
music
for
in
you, for
general or
you.
Michael Jackson?
No, no, for you, like your how you felt and like how that evoked some sort of feeling that you had to like let out.
with Michael Jackson, he sounded differently than everyone else to begin with. That's first how I noticed him. And then through following his stories, I got more and more familiar with what he's trying to do. And then through his music, because the way he expresses his music is through everything. It's like a 3D, it's like a Wipes 3.0, you know?
It's really dating us, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like a immersive experience where he wants the sound, his dance, his music video, his lyrics express the same thing. So it's kind of like watching a movie in 3D. And also because knowing his experience and what he's trying to achieve, that adds to it. It's sort of like when you watch UFC people fight, even though it's the same fight for a fighter that you know well or you know better about their background and what they're fighting for, even though when you're watching this exact same fight, it feels different.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that adds to it too. So it's like Michael Jackson at that time was experiencing a lot of hardship. A lot of people tried to put him down. He was going through court cases and all of these things, but in all of his music, it was still very positive. It was saying like their children are going hungry, let's save them. And the music video is like children in Africa starving. And then the lyrics is that, and the sound is that, and then his body movement is that. So the whole thing just sort of put you in, you know how like people say they go to Africa, it's a transformational experience because they witness both like the poverty and elephants and like, you know, crazy nature.
Yeah,
It's
just
kind of
getting
like,
back into like the root of one's being, which is like nothing, no technology, like nothing at all, just being on Earth.
yeah, it's kind of like the mini version of that. Instead of actually being in Africa, it's like a virtual visit.
Yeah, like how you're virtually in the beach right now, right?
No, I'm in Hawaii hanging out, just, you know, getting some sun
Okay.
uh,
The
to
crazy
fight
backgrounds.
against COVID.
Oh my.
Instead of a third booster shot, I'm getting the sun instead.
I'm getting the booster shot, okay? Like,
My mom just got a booster tonight.
yeah, how's she feeling?
You know, a little funny story about that. We went there and then she sat down and then the nurse asked her, which shot do you want? You get a choice. And my mom was like, okay, Pfizer, because the first two were Pfizer. And
Yeah.
then my mom thought about it and asked her, like, which shot do you think is better? I thought the doctor or the nurse wouldn't tell you because it's like your choice. But then she
Yeah.
said Moderna is better.
Yay, Moderna. I got Moderna.
Yeah.
Moderna.
The nurse was like, the Moderna is stronger and gives you longer protection. No matter what, which first two shots you got, Moderna is still better for a third shot. So my mom switched her choice and changed to Moderna. And
Wow.
like 20 minutes after she got the shot, she was like, oh, it is stronger. I feel it in my arms.
Yeah.
So
She's gonna
now
be
I
in
think,
pain.
yeah, I haven't checked on her, but I think she's passed out.
Maybe she's messaging me back.
Oh, she just messaged you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
still have to message, but we've started our podcast, so
Yeah.
I'll chat with her on the weekend.
Yeah.
But okay, is there anyone that's going back to the artists? Is there anyone that's like not relevant now, but because Michael Jackson will always be relevant. Is there anyone that has impacted you similarly to him recently, or like in the last 5 years, let's say?
Mm. How about you talk about your experience while I think about it?
Well, I guess okay, then that's fair. Like, is music that like big in your life?
Yes, but not
Not
like
in the
kind
way
of,
I'm.
yeah, like music is kind of like food to me, where I enjoy very much. I'm picky about it, but I don't like to stick with one all the time. I like to keep changing.
Yeah. Okay,
Like
that's fair.
yeah. And if you ask me what's the food that impact you the most, and then something you gotta eat for the rest of your life, I will have a hard time picking because I like to keep on switching.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
just can't keep with one genre or just. I
Yeah.
think I'm the same though. That's the thing.
Although I would say that music has a big impact on me, just not one particular artist or one particular song. But after coming to over to Canada, I didn't know much, and I knew some, but I didn't know much about the North American culture.
Mm,
And music played a big part introducing me into the culture.
yeah.
Yeah, so both like listening to it, watching the music video, seeing artists getting awards, and seeing I was in a band, not really a band, but like in a band class in high school,
Hmm.
and seeing how other people sing the current songs on the radio. And it's yeah, it helped me a lot with getting introduced into the culture.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's why I'm so embarrassed with bringing up Kid Cudi because this is like 12 years ago. And I'm like, that's why I keep saying I keep like rediscovering him, but it's like not really. And I'm also not big on the culture or hip hop or rap or any of that stuff. But now looking back, like I looked at his music and I listened to the whole album, like, and it hits me different because I actually um like listen to the words and listen to the lyrics and or read the lyrics, like it means something to me. And for his album To the Moon, um I just found that he was trying to uh give the message of like being confident and being yourself. And I think that's what resonated with my brother when he was going through like um elementary, even high school. And so then I kind of missed that part in his life because I all I understood was he just keeps repeating this stuff. Like I vibed with it too, but not as much as I do now. um and so I just think it's so like ironic because I'm trying to find myself and like I like don't care at this point. Like I'm trying to be my best self. And that's why I like agreed to this podcast and I agree to like putting myself out there because I've always contemplated this, like growing up. Like, I wish I can do YouTube, like, but I just make so many excuses. I'm always like, I don't have the equipment. I don't look cool enough. I'm not a cool person. Like, all just so many excuses. Like, it literally doesn't matter anymore because everyone has their own niche. Um, so going through that and having an experience or like a moment with my brother because we were making music together and making a cover together, that kind of like reminded me like, okay, like he said at one point like us doing this podcast helps him and inspires him to also be more creative and do his own thing because like there's always the fear of other people judging you, which is, I think that's like a normal thing. It's a natural thing for someone to go through, but it's how one copes with it. Because, like, right now, I'm still terrified of being in front of the camera and or talking about how I'm like literally feeling without masking it. And so I feel like going back to my creativity and the music that goes like with my childhood and how I'm growing up, it came full circle. Like I was scared, I'm terrified, and then now I'm like really overcoming my fears and putting myself out there. So like music impacted me in that way now, like today even. And I'm just so curious as to how like it impacts other people. um because it's not just music, it's like all the creativity stuff. And like for example, you're not, you always say I'm not that creative and you're like pushing yourself to be creative too. Do you feel that at all? like when you push yourself and how you're being creative, do you think about like, oh, people are going to judge me, or like where's your confidence at?
Mm, mm, not much. I guess I'm a lot less or a lot more distant from it than you.
Yeah.
If I see real people judging me in person, I'll probably connect that more. But right now, it's mostly me posting funny videos and enjoying myself. I enjoy watching my own videos. I
Yeah.
I kind of don't like when you say like people judging me. I don't really like. I don't have the connection. Maybe because you grew up here, so then in your head you're always imagining like, oh, this person could have seen it, that person could have seen it, that person judged me back then like that. So if they see me today like this, you probably judge me like this way, things like that. Whereas me, I don't have that much like history, I, I guess, with all the people in Canada. So maybe one day if people start, meeting me in the streets and start talking to me like they know me, I will feel the impact more maybe.
Yeah. But okay, so how did you develop like such like how did you develop your character, and or like because you're confident, then you're like secure in yourself. I think that's one of the main things that I've noticed about you, even just from knowing you, is just you're so like at peace with yourself almost. Whereas I'm over here like freaking out and like I don't know, just like like that feeling like, and it's like I'm like, I guess other people would categorize it as anxiety or like being nervous or like all that stuff, but I'm not diagnosed or anything. I'm just like, maybe that's how one feels.
Well, it's just you just got to go through it. um, that's why it's important with anything to just start, whether good or bad or however you feel. You got to start, because after you start it's going to get better. The reason why I'm more comfortable today is because when I felt uncomfortable back in, like, when I was younger, I started still, and and then I felt uncomfortable again and it started again. So over time, the video you sent me about this girl doing YouTube, and she was giving advice for upcoming YouTubers, and she said, oh, you're gonna feel uncomfortable talking to a camera, and my solution is you just got to deal with it. You just keep talking. Like,
Yeah.
and she's like, oh, it's not a solution, but it is a solution, because you just have to put in the time to get comfortable with it. There isn't really one magic trick you can use. If there was, it would be passed down through generations, and by your generation, it wouldn't exist anymore. But your grandparents experience anxiety, your parents experience anxiety, you experience anxiety, and your kids are going to experience anxiety. It's the only difference is you being through it, so you can teach your kids like, oh, you're experiencing anxiety, but it's okay, because you're going to get to the other side and you could become better, stronger, and more confident in yourself. Instead of, you don't have a magic solution for their anxiety. Your parents couldn't pass down to you a magic solution, and you don't have a magic solution to pass on to your kids.
So like we talked about this before, like just us, but also like, is it nature versus nurture?
Yeah, well, everybody has a ceiling theoretically from based on your genes, right? So basically, you're born with certain abilities,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of things you could do to improve yourself before you hit that ceiling. And most people, um, imaginary ceiling is too low.
Where did you think your ceiling was? Like what did you experience that you were just like, I'm nervous or I'm scared? Then how did you overcome it?
Um, I just went through it. I mean,
Through what though? Like, is it a particular thing? Because for me, like, as much as I am extrovert or I don't think I'm not confident either. Like, I think I have some sort of confidence. I'm not completely like bogged down, like.
yeah, I went through a lot of more uncomfortable situations than most people. So now, relatively
Because
speaking,
of growing up in China,
no, not just
or
from
just your
China.
experiences.
Yeah, I had a lot of difficult experiences.
Hmm. Is
Just,
there one that really stands out to you that you're like, wow, if I didn't go through this, I wouldn't be here today?
well, there's so many.
Can you
That's
choose one?
that's why you think I'm so much more secure in myself than others, is because others went through maybe one or two, but I went through like 10, you
Hmm.
know. I went through being embarrassed. I went through uh, moving to a country where I don't know anybody. I went through not learning a new language. Went through being uncomfortable. I went through being, I boxed before. I went through walking in. I could have been, brain dead in 3 minutes and not know anybody. It's petrifying. I went through going door to door sales where my English wasn't good. I didn't have sales skills. I was an introvert. So I didn't like, it's probably based on my personality traits, it's the worst job I could have. And, I went through it, like, you know, and so now, relatively speaking, everything I go through now, it's like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. But your mentality changed too. Like, how come you were able to overcome it? Other people who go through difficult situations end up staying in a difficult position. Like, that's why you have such a strong mind, I think, because you're able to always be so resilient when like others like, oh, like I failed 2 times at something, or I'm never gonna do it again, and then they just give up. But
Yeah, like I said, it comes down to start. Like I've failed plenty of times. I've frozen in place. I didn't know what to say. I've, just like the anxiety you're experiencing and hesitant, being hesitant to start something, I experienced them all. The only difference is the next time I encounter something, whether um, it makes me uncomfortable or whatever I feel, at the end of at the end, I decided to start again more times than others.
so it's like more of a mentality thing. Because even though one is like, okay, like I really want to do something, but there's always like a but. There's always an excuse. There's always, but I just can't. Like the mindset is just so set on I can't. Like even for me, like it took me some time to break out of the, you know, I don't care. I'm just gonna do it. What's the worst that can happen? And then like another thing, like the approach that I'm taking is like 5 years from now, will it really matter? And then like if it does or if it doesn't, like either way, it is what it is. Like I move on. But like, is there a certain not skill, but is a certain practice you have maybe like, oh, I'm gonna do it anyways because of, or like thinking of it in a different way, or
Um, yeah, I have a lot of those things, but I don't think they matter as much because I've throughout the years of arguing with other people and trying to convince other people to change all of these things, I realized,
jab at me.
not only with you, but in general, just with humans,
Yeah.
it's logic don't really change things much. You
Mm.
can lay out, you had this experience as salesperson. You could lay out all the logic why this laptop is better than the other one. If they don't feel it, they don't feel it,
Yeah.
Just like, for example, I don't know, somebody feel Apple. they wouldn't buy Samsung. But what's the difference? Like logically, you know, they wouldn't buy Adidas, but they would buy Nike, you know.
Well, there's a lot of things. Like, if you were really to make that argument, like a hardcore Apple, junkie or Android junkie, like, would have strong arguments for both. So, like, even for
Well,
me, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know. I'm an Apple person, so
well,
you're an
yeah,
Android person.
yeah, I understand. But my point is, if there's a logical argument, then you should have one answer. You shouldn't be some people like Apple, some people like Samsung. It should be everybody likes one thing, whichever thing that is, because logically there could only be one better product. So people don't just get convinced by logic, which is part of the reason why I want to start a brand instead of just starting a lecture channel or like a lesson series. Like lesson number 1, you do this. Step 2, you do that. People don't really care. Like I want to build a brand that makes people feel something. Like a example that you just gave with your brother listening to our podcast. Maybe our words played a part, but then the main thing is that how us starting made him feel.
Yeah. Just like getting started, getting like paving the way almost.
Yeah, it's less about we taught him one specific way of doing it that he never thought of. It's more of like a feeling that we gave him. So I think the best advice I could give for anybody who go through the same thing is no matter what, just start and don't judge yourself on the quality or how big the step is. Take baby steps. Like it builds momentum. Just do a little thing. Like if you want to start a YouTube channel, if you just have that thought at that moment, hold yourself accountable, pull out your phone and film a video. You don't have to post it. Like I said, baby steps. Like if you want to go out for a run, put on your shoes. That's it. You don't have to go out for the
Just
run.
went David Goggins on me, huh?
Yeah, put
David
on your
Goggins
shoes.
stares at his shoes for like however many hours.
Yeah, and that's another great example of like everybody struggles with this. This is not something I'm trying to get at is this is not something that's on and off. It's not you're secure or insecure. It's like it's a journey that everybody's on that's endless. It's like I doubt myself all the time too.
I guess it's just more people hide it better than others. Like I feel like this is all cliche things that we all hear. So, okay, reverse it. If you had a friend that was in that position and they're, so down on themselves, they don't have much self-esteem and or self-confidence, how do you literally you can't then. It's very difficult to help someone who is in that situation because at the end of the day, it's up to them to take action on their own life.
Yeah, the best way I think is for you to serve as an inspiration. From what I've seen is if I want to help my friend who's down on themselves, instead of me trying to hype them up, the biggest impact I can make on them is to live my best life.
Yeah.
Like I see that over and over again where you can go to your friends and try to convince them everything's going to be okay, you can do better, all of these things. It doesn't impact them much. Whereas if you just focus on yourself, you demonstrate to them how to do it. You start pursuing your dream. You start being positive. You start, doing all of these things. And without trying to convince them, they will get impacted.
Yeah.
Like it's what these brands are. Like it serves as an inspiration. It's some people might be down on themselves, you know, in the dark room trying to figure out where, like, they want to do something but they're scared. And if I want them to watch this video and then feel the courage, not really the logical step, but you do this one, do that too, but like feel it, feel our energy. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's kind
And
of like what I mean, like through vibing and feeling the music. Because like at one point, like it's just like something that you feel. Like I cannot explain it. It's the weirdest thing ever. Like it's been a while since I've gone through an experience like that, and it's like it's kind of empowering. And I just want to like understand how to create those strings, like how do you pull on those strings so that you can uh, create an action for someone to start doing something for themselves, you know?
well, if the like you got to shift your mindset. That's the most important thing. You got to shift your mindset from judging yourself based on your action versus judging yourself based on the result.
I think that's like the main thing is judgment. Because even for me, because like I've been through that, right? And I think I'm your like biggest project to get started on things. And I finally have, like, it took me how long? Like a year and a half, 2 years basically, of consistently being aware of every single thing that I do, like my thoughts and my actions and like all the results that come from it. But in a more loving myself way, in a more like I'm open to mistakes, I'm open to being new to things, whereas before I would already judge myself. So like taking away the judgment, and I think that I learn more from others when I did that, when I do that, and I create more of a like a just a welcoming interaction than oh, like I'm this over here and you're that. But no, like even from the beginning, like we're creating the human connection, we're all the same, but we all just go through experiences with judgment, and then taking that away helped me.
That reminded me of one thing is I think a big part of that is because of society.
Yeah.
Uh, because since you are young, you're groomed to feel validated through outside criterias, outside what's it's not called criterias. What's it called? Like, anyways, it's just external things.
Forces. I don't know.
Yeah, like how well did you do in school? How did you judge it? Based on grades.
Like
That's
standards, maybe societal standards,
yeah,
pre.
like a measurement. I guess
Yeah.
external measurements.
Hmm.
How you were chasing grades the whole time while you're in school. And what's grades is just something that other people designed on what they think is good.
Yeah.
And then later on in life, you chase status, chase a position that other people are envious of. Then later on, you start chasing money. What's money? It's again, it's an outside measurement and standard. So if you could be doing a lot of great things in life or for society, but you make no money, you like more or less feel less of yourself than other people who are rich
Yeah.
because you're trained that way, and that all those measurements are not even close to being perfect. Like they don't translate to real life impact. So you got to judge yourself. You got to forget about the external measurements. Know how you should measure yourself. I give you an example is since I started YouTube, or since I had the thought of starting YouTube, I had many, many, many times where I thought of giving up. Just to touch on your point where you're like, oh, I have doubts, but you don't. No, I have doubts too.
You just don't show it. Like you don't ever look like you're going through anything. Like I don't know how you just deal with things in a different way. I think I'm more expressive and you don't express that at all. Like, and you never complain about anything. You're just
And when I had doubt, I keep reminding myself of these things and the principles and why I did it, why I started, and how I shouldn't judge myself on the result, how I shouldn't judge myself on the short term, all of these things. And then I overcome it. Then the next day I feel better.
yeah.
Like I feel accomplished. Even though my views didn't grow one bit, my subscriber didn't grow one bit, but I feel progress.
Yeah.
And that's like how I measure like progress. Like I feel like, oh, along the way I'm gonna experience 10,000 doubt 10,000 times. I knocked down 2 times, so now I'm like further along. Instead of, other people, there are people who, I was kind of like this too, but there are people who would think that those have doubt, and then even after them conquering it, they will think about how unproductive they were when they were experiencing doubt, and they beat on themselves more the next day, and then they fall into this spiral where they didn't do anything, so now they start feeling bad that they didn't do anything, so now they stop, so they can't do anything because now they're feeling bad and they feel more bad, you know.
That's like the deadliest thing.
Yeah.
So like another thing will probably be like how your parents react to things, or like do your parents even interfere with that growing up?
Well, I didn't like before grade 7 I grew up with my mom for the most part, and then after grade 7 I went to boarding school, so I didn't have my parents around. I
It's
guess
just
that played a part of it. That played a part in it too, I guess, because I didn't have, like, if I don't pick myself up, nobody will. I didn't have anybody around.
and you didn't lean on your friends or like your teachers or
Didn't really have friends. Still don't.
That's a different story. You're very selective in who you interact with and your circle.
All I have is you, the subscribers. So don't leave me, please.
Now you're gonna say me because I'm right here. I'm all
No,
you got right now.
no, I'm looking through you, looking at my subscribers.
You gotta look at the lens then, huh?
Yeah. So I'm helping all of you to get to where you want to go. So you guys in return help me to get to where I want to go. Let's go there together.
Let's build this community together.
Yeah. That's when you said your brother felt that way, that's exactly the reason why I want to start the channel.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing when both your brother and you asked me. You were like, oh, if you don't make money, would you continue? And my answer was, if I see the real life impact, then I would, even if I don't make money.
Yeah.
And that's the real life impact I'm talking about.
And that's why, like, too, like my brother is my heart, like my biggest critic. As much as I am my biggest critic, I think it's because like he's my brother and he's younger too. I have a younger brother. And he's always like, I guess maybe I'm always there to be someone he should look up to. And I think that sometimes or maybe he does, look up to me more.
Maybe that's comfort yourself real quick.
No, I'm just saying like there's a little bit competitiveness when it comes to having siblings sometimes, and it's more of that like maybe they view, or maybe he views me in a different light, or maybe he thinks that I could do way better, but then I don't. So like I play myself down, like I put myself down, and I don't know, maybe it's that. We'd have to get him on the pod sometime to really pick his brain
I don't
about
know
me.
about
But
other I don't know about other people, but it's incredibly frustrating to me when somebody want to start something but they never take the step.
yeah.
So
Well, it's frustrating for me to even just fight with myself about this stuff. It's crazy. But I think now I'm like more at ease and I'm more motivated to put myself out there and to like continue this in my authentic self and not have to be played up or like, any of that stuff. I just want to like chill and have a good conversation.
you don't
And
want to be normal anymore. You want to be
yeah,
yourself.
this is the new normal, being myself, you know?
Shout out.
um and I'm kind of comforted by that and like his comment, and like that's all I needed. Like all I needed was my brother's backing, and I'm like, good. I don't need anyone to view to view like my stuff anymore, to like view our podcast. Although like if it helps other people out, it's honestly so great. And I would love to start seeing some comments in the bottom someday. um yeah, so at this point I'm kind of like feeling a little bit rewarded from just spending the time and like having a conversation and then putting it out there. So I don't know
Yeah.
if this was helpful, and I wish I could hear that from someone, like if it is helpful or not. Please tell me, like please tell us.
Yeah, I think if we keep on doing this, one day we'll see somebody say, "Oh, I always want to do something, whatever that is. I never had the courage. I always felt doubt. I felt all of these things, and because of watching your videos build up my, confidence or momentum, whatever. And now I'm starting it. So I think eventually one day we'll see those messages, and those are the reasons why I'm doing it. And I know that works is because I'm only able to start this YouTube channel after watching YouTube for 5 years. Like,
Same.
yeah, so it's like even though all those channels weren't made for me, they weren't even all about building community, inspiration. Some of them are just making jokes, just being entertaining,
Yeah,
being silly.
just want to hang out, sometimes like these things, even just listening to podcasts is like I'm like actually hanging out with them and like picking their thoughts, but like I'm really not. So I don't know, that's cool.
Yeah, so yeah, I drew inspiration from a lot of them. So even just like watching like someone unrelated, like say Joe Rogan, like seeing how comfortable he is being in his skin, how comfortable he is making fun of himself, and he didn't give shit about anybody else, so he didn't give a shit about the algorithm. He went against the grain and recorded 3.5 hours of podcast when it wasn't a thing, and he refused to edit. Like he
Is
told the
this where it
story.
comes from you? This
What
is
do you
where
mean?
your idea comes from? You're like, I don't want to cut this out. Like, just leave it in there.
Well, it's a combination of a lot of YouTube channels, but it's not about the editing. It's about showing both your good side and bad side. Because over 5 years, I've watched channels that have only good side. I watched, couples channels where they were only happy on YouTube.
Yeah, that shit scares me. If there's a couple who's perfect out there, I'm like, is something wrong about this? Like, even though people say like, oh, like we are happy and blah blah blah,
Their
like
goals.
I don't know, like, oh yeah, they're such couple goals. I'm just like, I don't know, like it's too good to be true, like,
Yeah,
even for us, like we don't even argue that much, but when we do, we argue.
yeah, I've seen a lot of those. I've seen the ones that were silly, that were vulnerable, that mad at each other online, and in real life they last the longest. And then the
Yeah.
ones that were perfect, the once it stops working, the lash out, like they after they separated, they make like videos talk shit about each other, like it escalates and it gets worse and worse.
Yeah,
So
it's
I learned a
crazy.
lot of lessons from that. And so what I'm trying to make is a combination of all of the YouTube channels I like. And I pick a little part of from each, and that's me.
Yo, same. Because I want to be talking about shit that I want to talk about. Like some people can talk about cats all day. I just could not care less. I really get, and then like I hope that doesn't sound mean, but like that's hella mean, right? But that's just not my niche. It's like not my thing. And that's why like we talk about UFC, we talk about like stocks and like all this stuff because I want to have a conversation about shit like that.
Also, a part of that is because maybe just my personal preference. When I
Mm.
watch certain videos, to keep uh, people with short attention span uh, on there longer, they speed up what they're saying, and then they edit out all the stuttering, all the mistakes, and I don't like watching those videos. I feel rushed. Like when I'm
Mm.
watching edited like shorts and TikTok style videos, I feel rushed. I'm like, I need to sit with a thought. Like I like Joe Rogan, Lex Freeman's type of styled videos, or pace rather.
Yeah,
So
long form.
yeah, it doesn't have to be long, but like I don't like the video that talk like this, or subscribe, just
I
That,
get tired when I watch videos like that.
yeah, I feel rushed. It looks
Yeah,
like I haven't thought through what you said 3 sentences ago, but you're on the
yeah.
fourth sentence already. Um, but that's like, I think that works with people's short attention span and algorithm, so they have the most views. But I don't like watching them, so I don't like making them. I'd rather have less views and provide
Mm.
more value slowly, and then build my channel slowly.
Do you think it's a feeling though? Because like for me, if I'm like super hyper, I start to talk fast and then I start like bouncing on and off the walls. But like today, I'm just feeling like chill. Like I just want to hang out, you know?
Oh, no, but
Because
that's a
there's some
different.
YouTubers that I guess are just like always on. Like they're always like, hi guys, and then it's just always like that. And then when they're feeling like not upbeat, super upbeat, like viewers think that there's something wrong with them, but there's like literally nothing wrong with them. They just like want to
At
chill.
least to me, there's like you can tell. As
Yeah.
as an example, Mr. Beast talks fast naturally. And then when I watch
Mm,
Mr. Beast talk, I enjoy it. And I feel like I feel like natural. And he's not trying to put up the thing for the camera.
yeah.
Whereas a lot of YouTube channels, I see that. Also, it's like another thing is how um how diverse your content is. I'm not saying don't talk fast. I'm not saying don't talk slow. I'm not saying don't be happy. I'm not saying don't be sad. But I'm
Hmm.
saying don't just only be happy and just make people think that you are only happy all the time. And if other people are not happy all the time, there's something wrong with them. Like I think like one of the another reason why people judge themselves so much is because of the people they look at.
Yeah.
They look at the celebrities who are like heavily, edited and photoshopped, and they would judge their own body, and they'd be like, "Oh, I don't look like that, so I must be not good." They look at the content, the channels, they're happy all the time, and they look at themselves, they're like, "I'm not happy all the time. There must be something wrong with me." So part of reducing judgment for other people onto themselves is to show the whole, like everything that comes with it rather than just one aspect.
Yeah. But do you like, and I think that's why with YouTube, like people are more normalized. Like there are tons of people who are just so different and they embrace how different they are. So they're normalizing, like another play on words here from the new normal, but like Seriously, they're like normalize being normal. Like, why is it so weird to just be normal? Or like not even normal, but like being yourself. Like, why is it so weird to just be yourself? Like, I never understood that. But then the only way I understood is because other people are judging you, or other people are judging them to feel that way, you know? Because I always felt like, oh, I'm doing this, people must think I'm weird. Like, everybody's weird in their own way. Like, it's just how it is.
Well, also it can go to the other way. Is
But
people trying to be weird to get attention to try to create content, and then they have to one up themselves and they go more and more weird and it goes crazy.
yeah, this is a little out of hand and out of character
Yeah,
then,
so but but
maybe.
but
So,
the thing is the whole society is heading toward a direction that I don't think society should.
in
Uh,
a more artificial way.
like, for example, all of these social medias reward more and more shorter content, more and more for shocking values. And people are going to be programmed to think that way more and more. And, people are going to look up to that. When you watch people who make shorts, only 5 seconds videos, and they jump off a building or do something crazy to make content and they go viral, they're 15-year-old, 13 years old kids watching that and going, wow, that went viral. That must be the coolest thing a person can do. And they aspire to become that. And it gets worse and worse over time. And that's why I want to make this different. Like, even though if it goes against the algorithm, it doesn't go viral. I want to slow things down. Like,
Yeah.
not like it, not making content what YouTube wants, but making content what humans are supposed to experience to grow. You're supposed to experience doubt. You're supposed to experience vulnerability. You're supposed to experience insecurity. So I want to show all of these things on the channel instead of just showing, oh, look how happy I am all the time, how confident I am. Look, I never make a mistake because I edited all of them out.
Yeah, I want to do the same too, because it's just like something that I've gone through and I want to share. And that's why I keep saying self-development and like being self-aware, but it's not a buzzword that I want to throw around. Like, it's literally things that I go through. And I think that when if people look inwardly the way you have been telling me to, like look inwardly, I think that a lot of like what we go through from stress of social media can be fixed without having, like people are taking pills, or like people are doing like are taking things that they probably shouldn't, and they should like slow it down, like give some time for themselves instead of like try all these new products. Like, you don't need to spend a fortune to get your health back. Like, it's very simple.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson's daughter popped.
Yikes.
Yeah,
She has her own podcast, I learned.
yeah. She went on to Michael Franzese's. He's a
Oh,
big mob guy. But anyways, that's not the
see, like
point.
stuff like that, just exposing different worlds. I think Michael Franzese is so cool, and that he's sharing his experience.
Yeah. So she went on to his podcast and she talked about her experience. Her family has depression, like severe depression,
That's hard.
and she gave out a stats. She said 50% of Americans were on some type of depression today.
Yeah, literally.
That
I read this too in my like in front of my counselor's office. Like, I back then when I was in high school, it was 1/3 of Canadians was
that's
in
crazy.
depression. Yeah, and that stat stuck with me for so long. Like, I'm just
And
more critical about my mental health because I know that it can go sideways real quick. And that's why when you said, they have depression, like it's hard. Like there, it's not something that you can necessarily control even.
yeah, but those of you who are interested, check out that episode. I think it's really good. But I would just give you a summarized version of it. Is that she was diagnosed since a kid. She struggled with mental health all the time. She was given pills. It was so bad she had to do a hip replacement. Like it affected her physically.
Mm,
And she had weeks and months where she couldn't just get out of bed. It was really bad. And then they keep giving her more and more pills, and it never made it better. It made it worse.
yeah.
And eventually, what cured her is her researching by herself about diet, and she changed her diet, and she cured herself. It's not about diet or not, but my point is a lot of these mental health issues are triggered by something else that has nothing to do with taking pills.
Yeah.
So like there are legit chemical imbalance or whatnot that you have to take pills, but I definitely don't think it's this big of percentage of population. They're like try to like if taking pills is the only way you can function, take pills, but at the same time seek out other ways to improve yourself, and don't just accept like, oh, this is how my mind is, I have to take pills. Now question everything. What did you eat? What did you drink? How many hours do you spend on your phone? What apps
Yeah.
do you use?
Like
All of these
literally,
play a part.
like what do you consume on social media? Like what are you watching? I think that was a main thing for me. Like you called me out. You're like, you're scrolling Instagram for no reason. Like why do you do that? And then you look at other, people or things and then like fantasize about like it literally doesn't matter. Like you're always like, so what does that have to do with your life? And you're like, oh man. Yeah. And I think like surrounding yourself with positive people that can genuinely call you out on stuff, right? At least for me.
Yeah, if you don't have that, you should call yourself out,
Yeah.
right? One thing you can do is it's difficult when you like judge yourself because it's like abstract, but then look at stats. Go on your phone, there's a thing where you can look at how many hours do you spend on which app a day. Like
Yeah.
confront yourself, don't lie about it. Don't be like, oh, I don't spend that much time on TikTok, I don't spend that much time on Instagram. No, 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 no. What's not much? How
Yeah.
many hours? you know
Mm.
if you look at that, you say, oh, 7 hours, I spend 3 hours on Instagram, 4 hours on TikTok a day. Is that how much time you want to spend on those two apps? If not, you got to do something to change it.
That's like Gary Vaynerchuk saying, audit your time. Like literally every hour, write down what you're doing, and you'll soon see like where you're really spending your time and how to fix it.
Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, like I'm just unlucky, I got to get here because life cheated me.
Yeah.
Well,
They
a
play
lot
the
of
victim.
times there are very unlucky people, but a lot of times you cheated life first, then life cheats you back. You lie to yourself, and you try to cheat life. Like life don't know that I'm addicted to social media, so I'm just gonna say, oh, like no, I'm really not. It looks like I'm addicted, but I'm not. When you start cheating life is gonna start cheating you. You start cheating life with your process, life is gonna start cheating you with the results.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty deep. That's almost like karma, but you don't believe in karma.
it depends on what you mean.
Okay,
I
like real quick summary of like how you think of things. Because then, yeah. Like, let's not get into a different topic, but like for you, a quick summary of what that means, because you are like, if you put that into out into the world will give it back to you.
Yeah, I believe that.
Mm.
I believe
You're spiritual.
there's a saying is life is a mirror. If you smile at life, life will smile back at you. I think more of a thing people will feel is if you're mad at life, life will be mad back at you. Like a lot of people are very bad mood in to start their day. Very rarely you see something good during the day. Like you usually find things that will piss you off more and more. You know, that's like but that's nothing to do with you changing, like karma coming back. I don't believe that's karma coming back. I just believe that mindset and perspective is a real thing. The exact same thing could happen, and you having a i'm trying to I'm trying to find fault mindset, you're gonna find fault in everything.
Yeah.
So that I believe. I don't believe the aspect of, oh, if you do good you're gonna get good. That I don't believe, because good is very subjective. Like I said, like if you shift your mindset or perspective, what's good, it would change. So that would never, that just doesn't add up. And that's something that people who don't want to do something about their own life to change it, to tell them, they tell themselves that to feel better, to feel comforted. Like, oh, I don't have money, but I'm just doing as good as the rich guy, but karma is gonna pay back, and one day I'm gonna land a lottery out of nowhere and the rich guy is gonna go broke. No,
That's
no, no,
usually
like
the story. Yeah.
no, no, no. You're gonna you have to look at your life, assess on what you're doing, and you know, look at the stats, face yourself. It's basically the whole episode, you know. And if you don't like your life, you gotta change it. And no one else is gonna change it for you.
Yeah. So having said that, let's all change our lives together, day by day, episode by episode. Like, let's do it.
Hour by
2022,
hour.
hour by hour, writing everything down that we do. That's going to be hard for some people, you know. It was hard for me when I started. Like I like, oh, I'm going to study for 15 minutes. I'm going to work on my project for like an hour. What do I do? And like, oh yeah, I'm researching. Like, you're literally not. You're researching other people's lives for no reason.
Yeah, well, life is not a race. Life is a journey.
Life is a marathon.
Everybody is on his own journey. Some people might start on year 2, some people might start on year 5. You're not really behind anybody else. So you just gotta look at your own journey. And you know, some people might want to start something, but they watch us for a year to build up the confidence to start, and some other people might have to watch us for 5 years to build up the confidence. But I just hope that we don't stop before they build up the confidence to start.
Yeah.
And B, they would choose to watch people like us. It doesn't even have to be us, to watch whoever it is, to make them feel better, feel empowered, to get them one step closer to starting, instead of watching those like short videos, the mindless videos, just grab them attention 3-4 hours a day. And eventually they'll get there. Don't worry about moving slow. It's you know, when you worry about moving slow, you're judging yourself. Then you're gonna start feeling bad that you're moving slow. Then you're gonna move slower. Then you're gonna feel worse. You know?
Cycle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm empathetic to that. The whole like, I'm not ready yet, but when I am, you know, it'll be full force, because that's literally us, or at least me. Like, okay,
Yeah, that's a
there's a time and
misconception.
place.
Being ready,
Yeah.
or
Because they were never ready.
or conditional ready. Don't ever tell yourself, oh, I'm gonna start this if this A B C D happens, and then when A B C D is not in your control. No,
Yeah.
tell yourself, what are you gonna do about it right now? Like I said, if there's a storm outside, running outside is not safe, no problem. Put on your shoes. Can you do that? You know, that's within your control. Like take a little step. If the next day you still don't have enough to run outside, put on your shoes, open the door and close it and take off your shoes again, you know, but take some steps, like get going. And eventually you're going to be tired of yourself, you know, not starting, and then you're gonna go for it.
I'm freaking getting so hype right now. I don't know
Let's
if I'm gonna
go.
sleep all night. Let's go, champ. If someone could tell me where that's from, knowing the interest that we have, yo, that's what's up.
What do you mean, let's go, champ?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
is
know
it
where
a
that's
meme?
from. No, it's a boxing guy. He keeps yelling it all the
You're
time
not
to
supposed
everybody.
to say
Well, I
why
didn't say his
do you
name.
ruin it?
I didn't say his name.
Okay.
I
Yo,
probably
then
did.
someone shout out his name. Like you don't have to like
Comment below.
make a random account and just put that guy's name there. You'll have freaking bragging rights for the next episode.
But
Shout you out.
before you comment, subscribe and like the video to earn the right to comment.
Oh damn, okay. You gotta invest in the OG fam.
Yeah. I'm just joking. Do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Also, where's that from?
Whoa.
You see where that's from too.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to support. So whatever you want to do, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in yourself, I believe in you. Go do it. You can do it.
You can do it.
Let's go.
Do it. Freaking Shia LaBeouf. Just do it.
that dates you.
Yeah. I think we need to stop there because the memes are just gonna continue.
Shia LaBeouf and Kid Cudi.
It's really dating me. I need to get with the times with the kids. Anyways, don't be normal. Just be yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.